Wortox is a very fast-paced red imp, while also being quite easy to play due to his easy access to healing and mobility. Wortox also reaches a whole new level of power with his new skill tree. Let's cover Wortox's base perks and quirks before discussing his skill tree and recommended skill tree loadouts. Wortox's stats are 135 hunger, 200 health, and 150 sanity. Wortox is a monster character, so normally neutral mobs like pigs, catcoons, and bunnymen will be aggressive toward him. Wortox is not scared by this though, as he suffers only half the sanity aura from creatures like Deerclops and Fuweaver. Wortox takes in half the nutrition from all food, so restoring his stats with food is half as effective compared to a character like Wilson. This also goes for negative effects of food like health loss from eating monster meat. To counteract this nutrition deficit, Wortox can use souls. Souls are a Wortox exclusive game mechanic where when anything dies within a 5-tile radius of Wortox, the mob will drop a soul. Then when Wortox gets within a 2-tile radius of that soul, it will be attracted to him and will be absorbed into his inventory. Boss mobs and otherwise big mobs drop more like 7 or 8 souls, while little mobs like butterflies and bees will still drop 1 soul even though you can kill them very easily. This is where I must insert the obligatory law of, oh my goodness, no way, BX doesn't drop a soul because they're a robot, oh my goodness. And oh guys, no way, Weber drops 2 souls because he was created when a spider ate a child. Wow, so it's 2 entities, I can't believe it, wow. Anyway, this does have some actual relevance as things like Clockworks and Nightmare creatures don't drop souls since they're either robots or otherwise reanimated, so don't drop souls. Despite this, Fuweaver is definitely reanimated, but he drops souls, so who knows, maybe because he has a heart, who knows. If you leave a soul uncollected, it will time out and despawn after 10 seconds. If a soul spends more than 6 seconds traveling to its destination, i.e. towards Wortox's inventory, then it will also time out. Wortox can hold 20 souls maximum at once. Absorbing more than this will cause Wortox to drop half his souls and lose sanity depending on the souls lost. You can kind of get around this by holding bees in your inventory, then murdering them when you want more souls, but there will be a better solution for this later. Souls cannot be stored anywhere except Wortox's inventory, not backpacks or any kind of containers, at least until we to his skill tree. Souls have a few uses. The first is you can drop them to heal yourself for 20 health. When you do this, you also gain 2.5 sanity for each soul that you drop. If there are other players within a 2-tile radius of Wortox who could be healed, then the soul will also heal them. But for each additional player benefiting from the heal, each individual heal is reduced by 2. So healing multiple players still nets more healing overall, just less healing individually. So Wortox can be a great medic to heal your teammates. The minimum cap a soul will heal a player is 5 when healing 9 or more total players. It won't go any lower than this. The next use of souls is Wortox can eat them. Eating a soul restores 25 hunger but decreases his sanity by 5. Even though you lose sanity, you'll probably be chugging souls for hunger and then releasing them to heal and gain sanity. The final use for souls is, you may already know, teleportation. Using 1 soul, you can teleport anywhere on your screen by right-clicking the ground that you can see. This kind of teleport is called a soul hop and does have a range of 9 tiles around Wortox, but you can basically soul hop instantly to anywhere on your screen. Once you do soul hop, you'll notice a timer wheel on your stack of souls. The soul you used to soul hop hasn't quite been consumed yet, but it will be consumed once the timer wheel depletes. This timer wheel indicates that you can perform a soul echo before the timer runs out. A soul echo is the same as a soul hop, except it only happens after a soul hop, so it's an optional free teleport after a soul hop if you do it within the time frame, which is 5 seconds. Once the time runs out or you perform the soul echo, the soul gets consumed. This kind of teleporting allows you to potentially spam teleport by rotating your screen and teleport to the corner of your screen for maximum distance per teleport of 9 tiles, which means you can explore a new unexplored map really fast, assuming of course you have the souls to upkeep the teleporting. And of course naturally with teleporting you can just skip gaps in the world generation, so Ancient Guardian's Maze, don't worry about it. You want to hop over to another bit of landmass when there's a bit of water in it, don't worry about it, just soul hop over it. So that is what a teleportation is also very useful for. Note, to perform soul hops and echoes, you need to be able to see where you're clicking. So if it's dark or you're in the caves, you can only teleport to where there's light. This is where moggles come in. Wortox really wants moggles to traverse the night and caves fast and easily. The last form of teleporting Wortox has access to is map teleporting. If you've already visited a place on the map and is therefore revealed, you can teleport directly to it. This will cost an amount of souls depending on how far away your destination is. It will cost you 1 soul to travel up to 16 tiles, with another soul added on top of that to go from 17 to 32 tiles, and another for every other 16 tiles, and so on. And another for another 16 tiles, and so on and so on. You can handily see on the map at what point the soul cost will increase. So to maximize the value you get from your souls, try to teleport right before the soul cost would increase. The maximum it costs to teleport using a map teleport is 20 souls. This is handy to know because Wortox can also teleport while holding heavy objects like the suspicious marble pieces to make the shadow pieces. When you teleport holding a heavy object, it costs twice as much to perform the teleport, but the maximum cost is still 20 souls, so use this to your advantage when transporting heavy objects. If you soul hop somewhere on your screen with a heavy object, the cost is effectively doubled by your soul echo being instantly consumed, so no free soul echo teleports while carrying heavy objects. You can't map teleport directly onto a boat unless it has an occuvigil on it. This is to prevent you from potentially teleporting to a boat that may have moved, dunking you into the ocean. Although you can teleport to a landmass, then if the boat is on your screen, you can teleport to it with a non-map hop. As for soul hopping versus map hopping, soul hopping allows you to travel up to 9 tiles per hop, but you also get a free soul echo along with that, so it could potentially go up to 18 tiles with 1 soul, while map hopping would only take you 16 tiles. But map hopping is much faster and convenient for only a little bit more expense, so it's totally worth it. Lastly, when you soul hop, you do disappear for a short time, so do get invulnerability frames during the animation. This can be handy for timing a soul hop to not only teleport, but to become invulnerable to negate an attack. If you begin the teleport animation but get hit before the invulnerability frames, the soul echo timer will start and your animation will be interrupted and your teleport will not go through. So this teleport won't get you out of being stun locked by lots of enemies like a horde of spelunkies. Comparing the soul hop's iframes to the Lazy Explorer, the Lazy Explorer almost instantly teleports you from one location to another, with a much shorter window of iframes, as if you're hit mid-animation, the teleport is cancelled. The soul hop and echo has a lot of iframes where once you hit a certain point in the animation, you cannot get hit, including on the way out of the animation. A good way of visualizing the soul hop and Lazy Explorer iframes is watching this example. When Decoy's sanity aura stops affecting my sanity, that means I'm invulnerable, since I have disappeared. The window where the sanity aura disappears is much bigger for soul hopping and echoing, versus the Lazy Explorer's much shorter window. Lastly, Wortox's favorite food is pomegranate, cooked and raw. Cooked is better, and this heals for 20 health and 12.5 hunger, but Wortox gains an extra 15 hunger, so 27.5 hunger, except Wortox takes half nutrition, so actually only gains 10 health and 13.75 hunger, so not worth it, but I'm mentioning it for completeness. That's Wortox's base perks and quirks. Now it's time for his skill tree. This will buff his souls, unlock more utility with his souls, turn Wortox into a bit more of a prankster, and make him basically unstoppable in the late game. Firstly, Wortox's tree has a unique inclination system with 3 weights to the inclinations. Wortox has a nice, neutral, and naughty side to his skill tree. Choosing a nice skill will pull you 1 unit toward that nice inclination. Choosing a naughty skill will pull you 1 unit toward the naughty inclination. Knowing this, you can choose skills to balance your inclination, so you stay neutral as you are by default, or by having 3 more nice than naughty skills, you'll have the nice inclination, and vice versa. If you have 3 more naughties than nice skills, you'll have the naughty inclination. Let's go over these inclinations first. The nice inclination says, your kindness has made your monster side no longer stir up trouble. Eating or releasing souls will change sanity at an increased amount. What this does is stops pigs, catcoons, and bunnymen from being aggressive to you as you no longer count as a monster. Secondly, when you drop a soul, instead of it increasing your sanity by 2.5, it now increases it by 5. But when you eat a soul, it decreases your sanity by 10 rather than 5. This allows you to manipulate your sanity easier by using souls. Cool! The naughty inclination says that your greed stops you from overloading of soul power for a moment. Eating or releasing souls will no longer change sanity. Souls heal you for less. There's 3 things going on here. Firstly, you can now temporarily hold more than 20 souls. When you absorb more than 20 souls, no matter if that's 1 too many or 100 too many, you'll see Wortox comment on it and the souls will be leaking from his body. After 10 seconds of still being overloaded, you will drop souls below your limit again. That's a lot of time. This allows you to momentarily overload in souls if you just killed a lot of enemies, and give you time to quickly drop or eat a bunch of souls to get below your limit. Sweet! Secondly, when you eat souls or drop them to heal, neither action will affect your sanity. This could be seen as good or bad depending on the player. Lastly, souls heal Wortox himself for less. Souls heal you for 15 each rather than 20. Splitting healing among your team works the same though, so splitting the healing between Wortox and another player, the other player will be healed for 18 rather than 20 since 2 people are benefiting from the heal, while Wortox will be healed by 13.5 rather than 15. If you balance the scales so you're not naughty or nice, you will be neutral, the same as if you didn't use the skill tree. That is to say, you gain 2.5 sanity when releasing souls and lose 5 sanity when eating souls. Now that's the inclinations, let's get onto the skills, starting with the nice side, then the neutral side, followed by the naughty side, and then finally we'll cover the powerful affinity skills. Lifebringer 1 says, learn how to channel souls into a twin-tailed heart, a creation used to revive ghostly friends. This unlocks a craft for Wortox, costing 10 souls, the twin-tailed heart can be crafted. This spoils after 10 days, and when I say spoil, it explodes, releasing 1 soul. But before it does that, you can give it to another player to revive them. When Wortox or any other player uses a twin-tailed heart to revive someone like this, it will grant them a massive 80 sanity as a reward. And that does mean people other than Wortox can use this heart to revive people. The player who gets revived with this heart will suffer from a health penalty, the same if they had revived themselves with the spawn portal. Except Wanda, of course, she can't get health penalties. Lifebringer II upgrades the twin-tailed heart's revive to no longer give a health penalty when it's used to revive someone. Simple and pretty good. Lifebringer 3 requires you to have spent a total of 5 points on a nice and or neutral skills. And so just for these examples, I'll unlock some neutral pan flute skills that we'll cover later just to unlock these skills to talk about them. This skill says, allow the twin-tailed heart to be used by another, which will pull them to you from near or far. Using it yourself will free the souls inside. What this skill does is allows other players to use the heart to teleport to the Wortox who created it. Doesn't matter how near or far Wortox is, as long as they're on the same surface as you, so a Wilson in the ruins can't teleport to a Wortox on the overworld. When Wortox squeezes the twin-tailed heart, it will drop and release the 10 souls it costed to craft it, healing you, your sanity, and anyone nearby as if you had dropped 10 souls normally. This could be used as big bursts of healing for your team or yourself if you got into trouble, or as simply soul storage, kind of. Reaching Souls 1 says, dropped souls will heal at an increased range. This range is now within a 3-tile radius around Wortox. It used to be less than a 2-tile radius, now it's about 3. Neat. Reaching Souls 2 says, dropped souls will move towards hurt players and heal at an increased range. The new healing radius of dropped souls is about 3.5 tiles, but that's not all. If players are within this healing radius range and they're injured, the soul will glide toward them while the healing delay happens. This is a neat skill as it means players running around in the heat of battle will be chased down by souls so they don't miss their healing. This also applies to Wortox. Dropped souls will slowly follow you if you're injured. Soul Bastion I requires 5 nice and or neutral skills and says, dropped souls will do a second healing wave for a low amount after a delay. This skill does exactly what it says. Assuming you're neutral Wortox, when you drop a soul, reaching Souls 2 will make it glide toward the player with the lowest health before it gives its first round of healing, leaving a smaller soul behind. Then after a delay, a second round of healing will come from that smaller soul. The healing from the second round is half as much as the first round, so 10 healing if you're neutral or nice Wortox, totaling 30 healing per soul. Less healing is given to Wortox himself if he has naughty Wortox, of course. This second round of healing also decreases based on the amount of people it's healing, going down by 1 healing for each extra player it heals after the first, but its minimum healing cap is still 5. So in big teams, this could potentially double your healing output, otherwise it'll increase it by 50%. Soul Bastion II says, dropped souls will move faster toward hurt players. The second healing wave will happen quicker, and souls are more efficient at healing multiple players. The first 2 effects are quite simple. Souls move faster toward the most hurt player, and the second healing wave pops after 1.5 seconds rather than 3.5 seconds. Healing multiple players usually works such that for each additional player being healed, the heal to each individual player is reduced by 2, but with this skill, that is halved. So each additional player only reduces the individual heal by 1. So healing yourself and 4 of your friends reduces the individual heal by 4. So you're all being healed by 16 health each. Nice! This means it will take 17 total players to reach the minimum healing cap of 5. This also influences the second wave of healing, which is now reduced by 0.5 for each additional player. So it's still healing for half of the big soul, but again with the minimum healing cap of 5. Lifted Spirits 1 says, souls waiting to be freed in a soul echo will enhance your movement speed. Remember the difference between a soul hop and a soul echo? To give you a refresher, a soul echo is the free teleport you get after soul hopping, so while that timer is ticking down on your soul stack is when a soul echo is ready to be used. During this time, Wortox will get a movement speed bonus of 20%. This speed bonus subsides when the soul echo is consumed or times out. This is neat and especially useful in boss fights if you wanted to move with speed bonus rather than teleporting with your soul echo. Lifted Spirits 2 says, soul echo duration is increased. This skill increases the soul echo duration by 50%, so now it lasts 7.5 seconds rather than just 5 seconds. This gives you more time to use up your soul echo teleport, or simply gives you longer with the 20% speed bonus, or both if you time it right. Reverberation is where things get good. This skill says, soul echo will happen a second time. This does not decrease soul hop costs from the map. That's right, after soul hopping you get 1 soul echo, then after that soul echo is used or times out, you get another soul echo, so with just 1 soul you can teleport 3 times. This has extra utility later when you get to the affinity skills, but for now this skill is good, but will get even better. If you recall, before we talked about soul hopping and echoing versus map teleporting, hopping and echoing was slightly more cost effective, well now it's even more cost effective since you get an extra free teleport. But let's not dive too deep into that because the next skill will balance things out. Capricious movement says soul hop cost from the map will be reduced by how much of the current world's land has been explored. This does exactly what it says. Depending on how much of the land, not sea or void, has been uncovered, your map soul hops will cost less. With the map fully covered up, soul hops cost 1 times, but with the map fully revealed, map soul hops cost 0.5 times, so the cost of soul hopping on the map can be reduced by up to 50% with the whole map revealed. Although from my testing it's actually like sometimes like a little bit more than 50%, but it's about 50%. Actually, you know what, leave that part out. In the code it says like 50%, but like in my testing it's definitely like above 50%, so I don't know what's going on there, but like in the code it definitely halves it. But anyway, this is a great skill and I think it exists to balance out reverberation, so it wasn't leaps and bounds more cost effective than the map hopping. Leaps and bounds, hops and echoes, am I right? Anyway, that's it for the nice section. Let's move on to the much smaller neutral section now. Impromptu Flautist says you periodically feel a musical pull to play your flute. Pan flutes will not lose durability 1 time when you're feeling this urge to play. What this skill does is every 8 minutes, Wortox will comment about how he wants to toot his flute or something. This means the cooldown for the skill is up and you can use it. The skill will put musical notes over a pan flute in your inventory, indicating that you can play it for free without it consuming durability from the pan flute. Once you do this free pan flute playing, the skill goes on cooldown for another 8 minutes. It also regenerates 5 sanity. Free pan flute usage is neat, but it becomes much more useful with these next 2 skills. Pleasant Pastorale says, playing your pan flute with such pleasing notes will bring lost souls around for a listen. This skill triggers every time you play the pan flute, whether the use is a free use or not. When you play the pan flute, after a short delay, 6 souls will spawn near to you before being attracted to you if you're close enough. This turns a pan flute into a potentially infinite store of souls, because if you only use the pan flute when the free use is ready, then the pan flute will last forever while giving you 6 free souls per day. This is a great skill for the early game when you can't hold a lot of souls at once, and also just like easy soul generation. Cloudy Carmen is the last skill to do with the pan flute and says things waking up after your pan flute playing will not be able to become hostile towards you for a moment. This skill does exactly what it says. When you play the pan flute, things go to sleep, then when they wake up, they won't be able to aggro you until 5 seconds have passed. This isn't super useful, as if you needed to escape enemies, you could just, teleport away, so you probably won't use this skill. Now let's move on to the naughty side of the skill tree. Knabsacker unlocks a new craftable weapon for Wortox called the Knabsack. No way. This costs 4 souls and 2 silk to make, so very cheap. It has 200 uses and deals 13.6 damage, at least while your inventory is empty. If you fill up your inventory, the Knabsack gets bigger and deals more damage until your inventory has only 4 free spaces left, and it deals its maximum damage of 34, which still isn't that good, but don't worry, it gets better damage later. Note that it doesn't matter how full or empty your backpack is, the damage only scales with how full your inventory is. The Knabsack is also used for nabbing things, just like how Krampus stole a child in that one video. Anyway, right-clicking an item on the floor with the Knabsack equipped will nab the item and any item nearby it. This is one of the best ways to get items off of the floor and into your inventory. Even if you don't have inventory space, it'll auto-stack the items that you're trying to grab. Useful for farms like Wickerbottom's bird farm, and maybe even some Varg farms. Otherwise, it's a quicker way to quickly grab lots of things off the floor. Every item you nab consumes durability from the Knabsack, with a maximum of 25% durability per nab action. Not that it really matters because it's really cheap to make. Soul Jar is where things get really good. This skill unlocks the Soul Jar crafting recipe for Wortox, who would have guessed? It costs 1 empty message bottle, 2 marble, and a red gem. You know how I said souls can't be stored in any container? Well, that's about to change. This Soul Jar can store only one thing: souls, up to 40 of them. Either open them and put souls in, or use souls directly on the jar. The souls inside soul jars don't count toward your overload limit, so you can have multiple jars full of souls while still having 20 souls in your inventory to use. If you drop these jars with souls in them, they will slowly leak souls, but you'll never be dropping these. You'll keep at least 1 and up to 4 of these jars in your inventory for reasons you'll find out later. Souls can't be used directly from the jars, you have to open them up and pull them out to use them. The game is smart though and won't let you overload by pulling too many souls out of jars, so feel free to hold shift and click the souls in the jar, and the game will automatically withdraw just enough souls so you don't overload. There's one more small but impactful thing a soul jar can do. That is, if you have a soul echo active and you open a jar, it will cancel the echo, allowing you to hop. For now, this seems like a bad thing, losing your echo, but this will come in quite handy later. This skill is so good and you will definitely be unlocking it. A quick tip for finding messages in the bottles: that will probably be the thing that will limit how many soul jars you can make and how fast you can make them. About 8 or so, maybe more messages in bottles spawn around land masses in the world on world generation, but the most reliable way of getting a bottle is either killing marauders, they have a chance to drop it, or once you join the game, your message in a bottle spawn timer goes on cooldown for up to 2 days. So what that means is at the start of day 3, you have the potential to spawn a bottle. A bottle will only spawn when you're on the ocean, then it will try to spawn in a massive radius around you slightly off your screen. Now I've heard from Jazzy that it prioritizes where you're facing, so try to face a direction where there is coastal ocean with nothing in the water blocking the spawn of a bottle. So what this typically ends up as is if you're sailing towards Lunar Island, you will just run into a bottle that would have spawned a few seconds before it came onto your screen. So that's how you get a bottle. Every 2 or 3 days, go onto a boat and sail around until you find the bottle that should have spawned. Another really good way of getting bottles is just killing Crab King. Without the pearl, he's really easy to kill and drops between like 2 and 4 bottles, I think. But anyway, that's plenty of bottles to make like all of the soul jars that you'll probably ever need. So there you go. Anyway, I talked about bottle spawning mechanics too much in the Wortox speedrun video, so go watch that if you want. Overflowing Greed says, holding soul jars increases your maximum souls allowed to be held at once by 5 each, stopping you from overloading of soul power. This skill does what it says, but has some powerful hidden effects. Every soul jar you hold, whether they're empty or full, will allow you to hold 5 more souls in your inventory. 25 rather than 20 if you have just 1 jar, or 40 souls rather than 20 if you hold 4 jars. 4 jars? That's what Jakey said earlier! It sure is, and that's because a stack of 40 souls is the game's limit per inventory stack. So now something neat you can do is hold 40 souls and never risk overloading by doing one simple trick. Fill up your inventory! By filling up your inventory, any soul that tries to enter your inventory can't, and it can't go to your cursor slot, as souls must be stored only in the inventory, so they get automatically dropped, as if you had dropped them, meaning they'll grant their normal healing and sanity effect, rather than causing you to overload and lose sanity. You can do this without the skill, but it requires you to hold no souls in your inventory, but now you can achieve the same effect while having access to 40 souls to actually use. In fights like Ancient Fuelweaver, this is really useful, as there's enough going on without you having to worry about your soul count. Also, you can use these in like, you know, Varg farms and stuff if you want, like Wickerbottom Bird Farm that like Knowles YT did. It's a really good video, link in description, hell yeah. This skill is really good for this reason, otherwise it just allows you to hold more souls, which you can achieve already with soul jars, so you might want to unlock this skill depending on what you want to do. Covetous Collector, I don't know if I said that right, says, held souls and souls inside of soul jars increases both the damage of the knapsack and the damage of souls up to 100 total souls collected. Ignore the soul damage part for the moment, as we didn't get to that yet, but this skill buffs your knapsack damage, while having only 4 free inventory spots and holding 100 total souls, whether that's in jars or your inventory. Your knapsack will deal a massive 68 damage, the same as a dark sword. This damage scales based on how many souls you're holding between 0 and 100. This is where you'll want to be carrying at least 2 full soul jars, so your knapsack is doing good damage, but perhaps more so you can use souls from the jars without the knapsack damage suffering. Because of course, 2 soul jars, that's 80 souls, 20 are in your inventory. If you have overflowing greed, that's 30. That means only 10 of those souls are actually usable. And if you start using more than that, your knapsack damage will start decreasing. So like I said, you'll probably want at least 2 and maybe up to 4 soul jars. This skill makes the knapsack a really good cheap weapon for Wortox in the early and maybe even until the mid game until you unlock Shadow Refs, but we'll get more into that later. Soul Thief 1 says, souls are created and attracted to you from further away. That's exactly right. Now things that die within a 7.5 tower radius rather than a 5 tower radius will generate a soul, and Wortox must only get within a 3 tower radius rather than a 2 tower radius to attract that soul. Soul Thief 2 says, souls will last longer while being attracted to you. Souls would normally time out while being attracted to you after about 6 seconds, now that is extended to about 8 seconds with this skill. I think in the code it might be 9 seconds, but it's about 2 or 3 seconds more. Anyway, Soul Pierce is where things get a little fun and a little goofy. It says souls attracted to you will hurt other creatures with souls along its path. This is where your souls can start dealing direct damage to mobs. When a mob dies, a soul spawns. Then when it gets attracted to you, it will damage any and all enemies while it travels through them. When it hits an enemy, that soul can't do damage to that enemy again for 0.35 seconds. The damage the souls do is 25.5, but if you recall, Covetous Collector said something about buffing soul damage. So if you're holding 100 souls, Soul Pierce will deal 31.9 damage rather than 25.5. So not a massive buff, but notable. This damage scales between having 0 and 100 souls. This damage does count as damage coming from Wortox, so if this gets out of control, you'll have hordes of enemies chasing you down. You can do some dumb stuff with this skill, like dropping 20 bees in front of a boss. The boss kills the bees, then 20 souls drop, then you teleport back and forth over the boss to do lots of damage to them while the souls try to follow you. Bosses get resistance to the soul damage, but it's not very practical anyway. It's really hard to pull off, so you probably won't be doing it, and it takes too long. Don't do it, but like it's funny to look at. But like don't do it. But like it is funny. but like don't do it, it's not worth it. Otherwise, this skill is fun for starting chain reactions of killing small mobs like bees and spiders to farm lots and lots of souls. Just make sure you have enough soul jars to store all of the souls. Soul Pierce 2 says that souls attracted to you will repel away initially before coming towards you. It may not be clear how this helps, so here's an example. As you can see, the small movement away from you before coming towards you makes a big difference, as it means enemies in a horde following you will for sure take at least one hit from the soul piercing through them, if not two. If you're going to unlock Soul Pierce, you'll want to unlock Soul Pierce 2 because it makes dispatching hordes of enemies that much easier. Soul Decoy 1 says, soul hopping creates a soul decoy to draw the attention of attacking creatures that possess souls. It will not create one for a soul echo. This does what it says it does. When you soul hop but not echo, a decoy of Wortox will be created who has 1 health and will draw the aggression of any mob that was attacking you prior to soul hopping. This decoy has 1 health and despawns once it gets hit. If it doesn't get hit, it will time out after 2 seconds and then despawn. If you soul hop again while a decoy is active, that last decoy will despawn as your next decoy spawns in. The best part about this skill is that it actually works. Like, enemies will really be drawn to the decoy rather than you when it's deployed, and it's consistent. Soul Decoy 2 says your soul decoy will stay around for a bit longer if they are unharmed and damage the thing that hit the decoy. It now takes soul decoys 5 seconds to time out rather than 2 seconds, and the enemy that destroys the soul decoy will take between 25.5 and 31.9 damage, just like Soul Pierce, scaling with up to how many souls you have. Soul Decoy 3 says soul decoys will now explode and inflict damage on things lured by it or attacking you upon expiration. This gives your soul decoy a massive damage boost and the damage becomes AoE, and so the fun begins. The base damage of your soul decoy is now 71.6 area effect damage, but with Covetous Collector, this damage can be buffed all the way to 95.6 AoE damage when holding 100 souls. The damage scales between these two numbers while holding between 0 and 100 souls. This is such a good skill for dealing cheap AoE damage to kill enemies like spiders or bees to farm souls. It's a shame you can't spam soul hops to spawn these decoys faster, because you know soul echoes don't spawn them. Wait a second. What if we use the trick with soul jars I mentioned earlier? Soul hop to create an exploding decoy, then open the soul jar to reset the soul echo so you can soul hop again, then instantly spawn another decoy. This is the strategy I use in my Wortox all-bust speedrun to farm souls. By repeatedly soul hopping, then opening the soul jar, you can spawn lots of soul decoys, which explode when the next one is created, to quickly kill the bees and spiders to farm lots of souls to be stored in soul jars. You can even combine this with Soul Pierce to become a completely overkill spider and bee murdering machine, but that's kind of overkill, you don't need to. This is a great skill, and I'd basically always recommending getting all 3 soul decoy skills. Now it's time for the affinities. We'll start with the Lunar Affinity, then save the best till last and go over the Shadow Affinity. Before we dive into it though, when you unlock either affinity, it reduces the amount of skills you need to swing the scales in either direction. It will block out 1 point needed on either side, so you need only to tip the scales by 2 points in either direction to unlock that inclination. Otherwise, these affinity skills don't count as naughty, nice, or neutral. Lunar Swindler has a really long description, so I'm not going to read it, and instead, this is what it does. While you wear Bright Shade Helmet or Armor, or both, the effect of this skill will become active. The effect of the skill is when a Soul Echo is active, so after you've soul hopped, if you get hit, instead of taking the hit and getting staggered, the Soul Echo will negate the hit, then the echo will expire. This means every time you soul hop, you get 1 attack negation for free, and it's a proper negation in that it not only prevents damage and armor durability loss, but it also negates stagger, so you can continue moving or attacking as if you hadn't taken a hit. Although this doesn't negate knockback attacks from knocking you back, it still negates the damage, but you can't attack since you've been thrown back, so it's not really— wow, that rhymed, that's crazy. Anyway, this is more so defensive, but you could use this offensively, since while fighting a boss, you can iframe 1 attack with the soul hop, which is quite easy, then keep attacking the boss while your soul echo negates the next attack, then repeat. Wait, do you remember Reverberation? The skill that gives you 2 soul echoes? Well, that second soul echo effectively buffs this Lunar and Shadow affinity, as you get 2 activations of the effect per soul hop. So now you can soul hop to dodge 1 boss attack, then the next 2 boss attacks will be completely negated thanks to your first natural echo and the second echo from Reverberation. Wow, Reverberation is so good! Like, actually though, all of the skills on where Reverberation is, all that tree, that branch, all of them are good. Basically, always unlock those. This skill is great, and Reverberation makes it even better. Unlock Reverberation. Shadow Harvester also has a long description, so here's what it does instead. The effect is only active while using the Shadow Reaper weapon. It doesn't work with any other weapon. This weapon, of course, is only unlocked after the Shadow Rifts, and the Lunar Armor is only acquired after unlocking Lunar Rifts, after Celestial Champion, and Fuel Weaver for the Shadow stuff. Similarly to the Lunar Affinity, this skill consumes Soul Echoes to do its effect. This time around, it will consume an echo to do one of 2 things. If there are more than 1 enemy within range, the Shadow Reaper will deal its normal damage as AoE to all enemies within its range when you attack. If there's only one enemy within range, then it will deal double its normal damage to that one enemy when you attack. The damage that is dealt in AoE or as double damage is buffed by the Void Cowl and 6 hit streak like normal attacking can achieve. And of course, since Reverberation is busted, you can soul hop and perform 2 of these effects sequentially, dealing double damage twice or AoE damage twice or a mix of both. This skill is so good as it gives you access to AoE damage, making everyday combat and most bosses pretty trivial, but of course it requires you to have defeated Agent Fuelweaver and activated the Shadow Rifts to acquire Void Gear. Pairing this skill with Soul Decoy and a set of Bone Armor makes Wortox pretty unkillable. Here's some footage of me destroying a Bee Queen with the setup, and as you can see, I'll try to iframe Bee Queen's attack, then deal 2 AoE or double damage hits with the 2 Soul Echoes I'll have before soul hopping once more to open up my Soul Echoes and dodge Bee Queen's attack. If I mess up and get hit, the Bone Armor negates the hit, so I keep the Void Cowl hit streak and deal maximum damage. Otherwise, I'm iframing her attacks most of the time. The AoE damage usually destroys the Grumblebees to the point where Bee Queen just can barely keep up, and otherwise I get to deal double damage to Bee Queen herself. I much prefer the Shadow Affinity, but what's better, Shadow or Lunar? Well, in terms of single target DPS, if you make no mistakes, Shadow is better. But if you make a small amount of mistakes using the Shadow Affinity, then Lunar becomes the same, if not better DPS. And if you mess up a lot using the Shadow one, Lunar is just way better because you can hold the attack key while soul hopping only once every so often. But you can still mess up with the Lunar Affinity. If you teleport too early or too late, you won't dodge the boss attack and your first echo will be instantly consumed to negate the attack that you failed to Invulnerability frame. So how I see it is Shadow Affinity gives you easy access to powerful AoE, more powerful than Soul Decoy, and it's just super satisfying to use, whether that's for actual combat or farming bees and spiders for souls. But Lunar Swindler is easier to use overall, but is like defensive. So if you're in a team, Lunar Swindler might not be very effective, because, you know, all of you are getting hit, rather than just you. Before we get to the recommended skill trees, I want to cover the best ways to farm souls as Wortox. The best way is just by having a killer bee biome. This biome is a green grassy biome with lots of killer bee hives near the entrance. You can use a mod like Force Biomes to force this biome to spawn. This biome is so good since you can lure out 40 or so bees, then begin killing them with Soul Decoys, Soul Pierce, or Shadow Harvester, or, you know, all 3 of them if you want, but I tend to solely use Soul Decoy III to farm souls, as Soul Pierce is usually overkill, and you can get out of control fast, causing you to overload really easily, unless you have the naughty inclination. If you don't have killer bees, you can use spider nests. You'll need a few of them and will definitely need Soul Decoy, and maybe Shadow Harvester would be nice for taking out the spider warriors. Lastly is in the ruins, not a lot of enemies drop souls, so you may want to kill shadows with monkeys for souls. The method is the same, drop a Soul Decoy repeatedly while iframing the monkey's attacks so you don't get staggered constantly. If you have Soul Pierce, it will help out since the monkeys won't die from a single Soul Decoy explosion. Now it's time for the recommended skill trees. These trees will come down to personal preference, but I'll offer 2 of them, well, maybe 3 of them. The support tree, where you want to help your team as much as possible, and the aggressive tree, where there's kind of 2 variants to it, where you want to deal as much personal damage as possible and otherwise have a lot of offensive utility. For support Wortox, I've started with unlocking all of the skills up to Reverberation and Capricious movement, Capricious movement, as they're just so good and basically always worth unlocking. Next, we're unlocking soul jars, as storing souls is great. Knabsacker is also decent for picking up items, but since you're in a team, you won't need Knabsack or soul damage. Then we've got the full twin-tailed heart branch unlocked to revive your teammates without penalty and have the ability to teleport them to you. I then opted to unlock 1 pan flute skill so that I could unlock Soul Decoy III. Soul Decoy III requires 5 naughty or neutral skills to unlock it. This will be your method to farm souls for yourself. So you can carry a pan flute with you, but like you don't need to. Lastly, I spent the last 2 points on having a bigger healing radius and having souls move toward players who are injured. This helps players not miss heals as they run around the battlefield, although you could sacrifice one of these points and unlock the other pan flute skill that gets you free souls if you wanted to. This tree is meant to be a support Wortox who can farm his own souls but help his team out immensely in every way he can, and also turns out to have the nice inclination, so he'll be able to manipulate his sanity easily by dropping or eating lots of souls, which comes in handier than you would think, like right before boss fights. Aggressive Wortox is meant to have maximum damage utility, but we'll start with unlocking Reverberation and Capricious movement because they're good. Shadow Harvester is next, of course, then you'll want to unlock everything up to Overflowing Greed, then grab Soul Decoy 3, and with the last 4 points you could put it on anything, but I'll opt to spend all 4 on unlocking Soul Bastion II. Not because I care about healing, but because I want to be nice Wortox so I can manipulate my sanity a lot easier. If you haven't acquired the Shadow Reaper quite yet, you'll want to use this version of the skill tree instead, ignoring Shadow Harvester and Soul Bastion I and II in favor of Covetous Collector and Pleasant Pastorale. Pleasant Pastorale gives you easy access to souls in the early game, and Covetous Collector gives you access to the higher damage from the Knabsack Knabsack until you get the Shadow Reaper. Thanks for watching. If you have found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you have any other tips for your fellow survivors, be sure to leave them in the comments. If I missed anything or need to correct anything, I'll leave it in the pinned comment, so look out for the pinned comment. The script for this video was reviewed by Lord Lee Aztronaut, and along with myself, of course. So thanks to those two for their contributions and fact-checking. Anyway, I'm going now. Look out for the Wendy and work guides. They're coming next. Okay, bye-bye.